What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, checking out the brand new Crossout spell that has finally been revealed. You guys know that I first talked about this card when it was teased as a V-Jump promo on the OCG. I got super excited about it because in my mind, I still look at Nobleman of Crossouts as an iconic card from the DM era. It doesn't really resonate that much with newer players, but I'm telling you, man, ask anybody who played during DM or who plays a lot of Go format. They'll tell you how awesome and how powerful Nobleman of Crossout was in its heyday. I mean, the card was on the FNL list back in the day, but yeah, I was super happy that Konami was making kind of an updated version after, like over a decade and a half, and I had high hopes for this card, but I really didn't expect it to be anything good, and to my surprise, this card is actually pretty damn awesome. It's called Crossout Designator. As soon as I heard the Designator part and, the fact that this card's a quick play, I wondered if maybe it could be similar to like Called by the Grave. If you guys don't know, Called by the Grave in the OCG is called Designator from the Grave, so just the whole Designator thing, I thought, maybe it might be like Called by the Grave, and yeah, to my shock, this card is very, very similar to Called by the Grave. It is a hard once per turn, and it says declare one card name, banish that card from your deck, and if you do, until the end of this turn, its effects are negated, as well as the activated effects and effects on the field of cards with the same original name. So essentially, this has the same exact type of effect as Called by the Grave. The activation condition is just a little bit different, and when it does say the same original name, this does mean that, to my knowledge, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, you cannot banish something like a Cyber Dragon from your deck or a Harpy Lady and then, say I'm going to negate my opponent's Cyber Dragon core that they just summoned, that they're trying to activate. It doesn't work that way because Cyber Dragon core, some of the Harpy Ladies monsters, their original names are not, Harpy Lady or Cyber Dragon. They just become that name on the field and on the graveyard. But when you look at this card, yeah, this card acts very similarly to Called by the Grave. The first thing I thought about is, number one, this can technically be used almost identical to Called by the Grave. We know that one of the, I guess, most common uses for Called by the Grave is kind of pushing through hand traps, right? Let's say that you want to do some type of searching, you activate Mobilize Engage, or you're trying to summon an Oviraptor Search. People will use it against an Ash Blossom, or maybe they'll try to use it on Ghost Ogre that's hitting their Dragonic Diagram or something like that. If you happen to play those hand traps in your deck, you can actually just go ahead, you can activate Crossout Designator, and you can banish those same hand traps. Your opponent's hand trap will be negated, and you'll essentially get the 1-for-1, the same as Called by the Grave, and you will have pushed through their hand trap. But I really look at this card and I think, don't stop there, man. This card can be absolutely nuts when you're talking about mirror matches. I mean, think about this, right? Let's say you're playing a Sky Striker mirror match, or you're playing a Salamangreat mirror match. If you go first and have this card set, we know that there just are important cards that your opponent is 100% going to want to use in their first turn. Cards like, I don't know, Mobilize, Engage, cards like Salamangreat Gazelle. I think it is 100% worth it to banish one of those copies, or one copy of those cards, from your deck if it means your opponent cannot use that card for the entire turn. Imagine that, right? Your opponent activates Engage, you banish an Engage from your deck, you get a 1-for-1 for your opponent, but then they can't even go for Kagari, get the Engage back, and then use it again because it's negated for the entire turn. Same thing goes with something like Salamangreat Gazelle. I mean, sure, you can add it back to your hand, but it doesn't matter if you're not going to combo out. I think that I'm in the driver's seat at that point. I think that this card can also awesomely be used to stop something like Infinite Impermanence, which Called by the Grave has pretty infamously never been able to do. This actually can stop that. All you got to do is just banish a copy of Infinite Impermanence if you're playing that from your deck. I really look at this card and, man, I think that there are so many possibilities, again, especially in mirror matches when you and your opponents are going to be playing the same cards, and there are even just kind of, I guess one-ofs, not just like hand traps, but your opponent activates Monster Reborn, you just so happen to be playing Monster Reborn, go ahead, chain, negate Monster Reborn. You will have to suffer, the loss of your only copy of Monster Reborn being, banished, but I think it's well worth it, and I really do like this card. The only small downside is is the fact that it's a hard once per turn, while Called by the Grave is not. But yeah, this is kind of Called by the Grave for mirror matches, and it also can hit spells and traps, which I think are just really nice, because as we get kind of more streamlined, very popular staple cards, cards like Impermanence, Permanence, Called by the Grave, Ash Blossom, this card will just undoubtedly be useful against those type of cards. So you guys let me know what you think of Crossout Designator. It'd be nice if we got this card sometime soon in the TCG, but who knows when we'll get it. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.